And we're live.
And we're live.
All right. We'll give it a second. Allow some people to click.
Let's see.
Yeah, and then we'll just get to going. Thank you for joining us as you all come in. Welcome to Passing for Perfect. This is our first podcast, our first live recording of this podcast. And my name is Kanisha Grinner.
And I'm Corey Grinner. And to make sure you guys can hear us, could someone in the chat just give me a thumbs up, a like, or something? I see some people coming on. So we are getting ready. Give it a couple more minutes.
Couple seconds.
Couple of seconds.
Tonight we're going to be discussing a movie. It's a BET Plus movie, so hopefully as you all come in, thank you for the thumbs up. Hopefully as you all come in, you've watched the movie, or at the very least, maybe you can relate. Hopefully you won't relate much, but the name of the movie is Open. It is a BET Plus movie. You can find it on Amazon Prime. We watched it through Amazon Prime, but we thought it was a really, really good topic to bring up as our first show.
First official
podcast recording.
So you guys are our official crew, our first official audience crew. So hopefully everyone can hear us, and the picture is clear quality. I'm working through some things, so y'all work with me.
Yeah, I can't see.
She can't see, so I see we have some thumbs up, some good evenings to everyone coming in. Hello.
So let's just get with why we started this podcast. Okay, we put up a lot of things on Facebook, and we chat a lot with different people. Our views, go back and forth because we share a Facebook page. So our views absolutely go back and forth. We do not see eye to eye on everything, of course, but people always jump out at us and be like, man, y'all's relationship, y'all have such a good relationship. Y'all so open with each other and y'all talk to each other about whatever, that is so cool. That's so awesome, So the title Passing for Perfect was just simply because that's what everybody see on the outside. Nobody really knows the stuff that you go through. Nobody knows the stuff that anybody goes through, whether it's a relationship or just a person. So that's where the title came from, Passing for Perfect, because it's like you have no idea. A lot of people are like, man, I want that. I want that type of relationship with my spouse or my significant other or whatever. But you have no idea what somebody has gone through to get where they are. So we all look good on the outside, so here we are just walking through life looking real, real good. And you just have no idea what may or may not be going on the inside. So we kind of want to deal with a lot of topics because a lot of things pass for perfect. Jobs, like I said before on a previous video, our country, from the outside looking in, Americans, we have it so good. But relationships, definitely. And then just us as individuals, we seem to wear a good mask sometimes. So we kind of want to just talk about all these things,
Yeah, and we don't want anyone to think that it's just our opinions. That's why the chat is open. I'm gonna read the questions, any comments as they come along. It's not just our opinions. We're not right about everything. We don't know everything. So we're just talking from our point of view, the way we see things, the way we do things. Some things that happen that may work for someone else. Also, it's not all just about relationships. We're going to talk about a multitude of topics in future videos and future podcasts, future episodes. So we just felt like a coworker of mine actually saw the movie, suggested it to me and said, hey, watch this movie. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting. Might be something you and your wife may want to watch. So she said, y'all talk a lot. Y'all talk about relationships and things all the time. So this may be a movie that y'all want to watch and tell me how you like it. So once we watched it, it was like, okay, this is interesting. That's the best word I had for it. This is interesting. And so the topic, the movie itself brought out a lot of different topics. It's a lot of different things you could talk about from the movie, and I think it was like not even an hour and a half. I don't think it was even an hour and a half movie. So it went by quick. It wasn't a long watch. So we're just gonna get into it. Just gonna talk about it. Name of the movie is Open. It stars Essence Atkins, Jasmine Guy,
CC from
some dude, man. Some dude.
What is he from? Dreamgirls.
Yeah,
he was
in Dreamgirls.
Brother. That's
Effie's brother in Dreamgirls. Don't know his real name. We apologize in advance, sir. But
I don't know. So break into it. I'm gonna break into it. Because from the female perspective, it's some other stuff. Maria. So the movie goes like this. All right, just if you have never watched the movie, if you didn't get a chance to watch the movie, we're going to summarize it really, really quick. So the movie opens up and we see the husband character, obviously in a hotel room. He's on the phone with his wife and she's like, enjoy your trip or do what you got to do or however that goes. And then they cut to this other woman that's standing in the room, like bra, panties, all these things. And he's like, look, I told you after the night, we ain't gonna see each other. We won't talk to each other ever again, whatever. So it's already like, dang, this how we start, we cheating and things already. You just was on the phone with your wife, So he goes home. And then the next scene is the wife taking a pregnancy test or looking at the results of the pregnancy test. And she obviously was not satisfied with the results, but she was not pregnant. So she comes down and is their anniversary coming up. They talk about their anniversary plans and all these things. And she owns a bakery and she has this partner at the bakery and they talk about, make a couple of little sound bites or whatever. And one was, they're not going to make it is what the partner said about a couple that was sitting in there. And she just spoke to what she saw, but she made the comment that, oh, this is coming from the woman who has a husband and a boyfriend, So it's kind of like, okay, wait a minute. All right. So now I'm starting to understand the title Open. It's starting to come forth a little bit. All right. So she invited them to this gathering, which was at
looks like a bar, a club. Bar. So we're gonna assume it was a swingers bar.
Something.
But it was a party
gathering where this guy was kind of on the wife and making little comments or whatever. And the husband comes over and he seems a little jealous of the situation. So she makes a little comment about what she thought she may have to do to get away from the dude and of a sexual favor. And he gets a little, like, oh, that's what you thought you was going to have to do, but we just saw you, in the room with the other woman, So all these things are happening. What?
Nothing. At this point, we have no clue. I think at this point, by this time in the movie, we've learned that they're in an open relationship by this time in the movie. So it's even though you're in that type of situation, it's still awkward. It's still awkward when you see it in your face. So I'm assuming he was like, that may have been the first time he'd ever experienced her flirting with another man or in the presence of another man. So naturally, men are territorial. We walk up and it's the put your chest out, mark your territory. It's just the natural thing to do. I mean,
okay,
it's still mine,
and you're sharing it. So,
but it's still mine. It's still my toy,
and you decided to share it. So why are you getting all, I don't like this game, I'm taking my ball and going home, when you opened up the court for it to be shared?
And he wasn't winning in the moment. I mean,
Anyway, so as we get through the movie, they have these rules that they've set up, and they're not supposed to break these rules in order for them to stay in this open relationship. So let me say to the ladies that's on, ladies, she did propose that they be in an open marriage.
her idea.
It was her idea that they be in an open marriage. And he was like, okay, like I guess a lot of men would be cool with that because they get to, roam around and do whatever. But she said, let's do this. It's working for another couple. They've been married for however long, and it's working for them. Maybe we should try it so that we never go down the road of having, problems with adultery or getting bored with each other and then other problems come up. Let's just keep the relationship honest is basically what she was saying. Like, keep the thinking that having an open relationship equaled honesty. I don't understand how that was the process, but that was the thought process. All right. So she ends up getting in contact with an old friend in the movie. They're not supposed to, hook up with exes or anybody familiar because they don't want to form those attachments and things like that. And you're not supposed to go back to the same person.
Not supposed to go back to the same person more than once.
And she did that. She ended up hooking up with a former boyfriend, childhood boyfriend, and she ended up hooking up with him multiple times. Meanwhile, the husband has the lady come back and, she might be pregnant for him, but he's adamant, shit, that ain't my baby. That's not my baby. So obviously, they protect themselves and all this other stuff. He knew that was not his child. So he's like, I'm sticking to the rules. I told you we weren't going to ever see each other. This ain't never getting to my wife because this ain't my baby. Meanwhile, wife over here screwing old boy for about the third, fourth time or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. And in this instance, now back to the lady, the lady who we saw in the opening scene. Part of the rule was, one of the rules is you can never see me again. This is a one-time thing, and I'm moving on after this. So terrible as men, we are terrible cheaters. We're terrible at this. Even with the option to do this on your own, like you have free reign to see other women, and we're still terrible at it. He actually left his business card wherever they were. So she turns up pregnant. She's investigated him. He never gave his real name to her or anything. So she's investigated him. He's an architect. He's really good at his job.
They're successful people.
They're successful.
They are successful people.
So
right.
She's found him. She just shows up at his office. So the wife has come to bring. She's a baker. She's come and she's brought whatever to the office for him. He's walking her back to the elevator because she goes back to work, and he looks and he sees the woman who he had his fling with in New Orleans. Why it had to be New Orleans, y'all? Why they always bringing the drama to Louisiana? But anyway, she's in the hallway talking to the receptionist. So he looks, he takes a double take, and he flies to the elevator with his wife. As the door is closing, the lady sticks her hand in the door, and he's at the back of the elevator. The wife is in the front, and the lady leans back into the back of the elevator and says, and the wife says, "Hey,
how far are you?
How far along are you? That's awesome, whatever. You know what you're having." And she says, "I think it's a boy." And then she side eyes and looks at the husband. Break scene, comes back. He finds out, she says she's pregnant. He says, "There's no way this is my baby." And says he's going to get a DNA. First rule of Fight Club. Hey, it's Fight Club. I mean, at this point, I don't know what else to call it. Rule of Club. the purpose of being in an open relationship is to be open and honest. So at this point, the smart thing to do as a man is to go to your wife, let her know what happens, and deal with it from there. I mean, you're in an open relationship, y'all freely having sex with people. This is one of the risks of this life. So doesn't tell his wife. He was ready to. I will give him this. He was this close, but she came out after taking a pregnancy test, and it was negative. Yeah, negative. Right. She wasn't pregnant.
And she was disappointed.
And heartbroken, so he didn't share the drama. He goes, takes the DNA test behind her back, still has a chance to share this information. But instead, he doesn't say anything. The wife comes to the office again. By this time, he's up for a big job. And there's this lady. She's
a big booty Judy.
That
he's attracted to. That's promoting trying to get him in business with her. All right. But yeah, she's a big booty Judy.
But he's already said he doesn't mix business with pleasure.
And she already said whatever. Side eye. Obviously, he had mixed business with pleasure at some point. And he, was like, not this time. So not to, we don't want to recap a whole movie. We're going to try to give it to you in just a few minutes. But at the end of the day, she made the statement about remembering all the names of the women that he had been with. And that stuck out because it's like, how do you remember all the names of somebody that your husband has been with? How you keep up with that? And why are you keeping up with that? Like, the purpose of the open relationship is so that y'all can, as they say, have your cake and eat it too. So why is it necessary to keep up with the people or the amount of people or whatever? So
bad idea.
They have a fallout and they have an anniversary party, nonetheless. And they just have this whole meltdown. She melts down. She's like, it's not about me. You just out here, you happy to have this. You are just enjoying it too much. You want to be all out with all these other people. You don't really want me, because if you did, then you wouldn't take every opportunity to be with every other woman every chance you got, was basically what she was saying. And by this time, his brother and his wife have found out that they have an open relationship, because the sister-in-law walked in on the other guy kind of kissing on her or whatever. And now
another rule violation,
because she wasn't supposed to be out in public with other people. Like, these are the rules they have. So they have this whole major breakdown. He finds out that she's been back and forth with the same dude, which is a whole other rule breakdown. You don't do that. And her mother basically told her, because she didn't stay at home one night, but her mother told her, you changed who you were. I sent you out in the world and said, go do better, go be better. And you took that as go be somebody else. She changed her name. She changed the way she looked. She changed how she actually liked to wear her hair, all these different things, thinking she was going to be better. And, getting away from her hood, because Jasmine Guy, y'all listen, Jasmine Guy played ghetto mama, I was loving her because she was just like, ain't nobody tell you to be ashamed of me. I was like, what that for, ashamed of me? Okay. So, people in Louisiana, we know what that means. When somebody say, don't be ashamed of me. Okay. That's not a real word, but but it was just so much that went on in this movie. And so the discussion tonight is just simply like, why do we put ourselves in situations that we ain't secure enough for? You know what I'm saying? Like, being in an open relationship, when somebody walk up on you or you find out somebody's in an open relationship, you automatically like, dang, like, y'all really, that's pretty cool. Y'all got it together. It's like, that's some I couldn't do it. That's some stuff I couldn't do. So y'all must really, really have it together. But then on the inside, both of them, neither one of them can really handle the situation. You know, she falling apart because she remembering all the names and all the people, and you know, then she's not feeling seen by him because he's tapping everything he get a chance to tap on, and then she gets flirted with, and he got to, square up and yeah, that's my wife, bro. You
Big
open.
chest. He said it with his chest though. Like that's what I mean. It's a male ego thing. Like it's not really even still. Just like her. Like even though he wasn't the big booty girl, even though he wasn't pursuing her, she just automatically threw that on him. Like so, it was so many characters. It was so many internal issues that they already had from growing up, the way they were raised.
Y'all, we're gonna try to make sure we're reading all this stuff. I can't see it. I can see you typing. I don't know what it say. I don't have on glasses, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to
She still wouldn't be able to see. But it was so you make the rules, but you don't follow them. You don't follow the rules. How you get mad, and that's part of the conversation. Part of, and even not even an open relationship, just a marriage in general. There are things that are hard lines in your relationship. Like these are things we don't do. Like these are things we don't do, things we don't say, lines we don't cross.
Right.
Just period. Even if you're in a traditional marriage. So you can't be mad and upset by the rules or the guidelines that you've established. So this is part of where understanding who you are and what you're capable of, understanding the issues that you have internally that have to be worked on before you can even be in any type of relationship, let alone to the level of relationship that they gotten themselves into based off of
what was
past history,
somebody else too,
and something that worked for someone else. Her friend, co-worker, and her husband had infidelity issues. So their way to fix their infidelity was to be open. That worked for them. They had those rules. You can't take someone else's life and plug it into yours and expect it to work for you.
Right.
So even though they made their own rules, they were using someone else's blueprint.
Right. And a friend of mine, she messaged me and she was like, hey, girl gave her the blueprint. I was like, she gave her a faulty blueprint. And she was like, no, she gave her blueprint. And see, we have a problem with seeing what other people have going on and then wanting to follow what other people have. We want to follow that because that's working over there. It looks good over there. Like they happy, but that's them. Let them have their thing. They have their relationship and it's working for them because those are two individuals in a separate situation and that thing is working for them. Who's to say when you bring that situation over to you and your individual that's going to work out for you and your individual? So, we find ourselves putting ourselves in situations that we ain't quite ready for. We're not
quite built for.
Because for her to suggest an open marriage in the first place, you got to be real secure in your ish. You know what I'm saying? You got to be real secure.
And I see the comment. Right, and that's right. She suggested because she felt him cheating was inevitable. She didn't want it. Right. She wanted him to say no when she suggested it. She said, "I wanted you to choose me." I don't really think in the beginning that was her thought process. I think as the movie went along, she felt that way because he was taking every opportunity to explore other women when he got a chance. I think generally in the beginning it was okay. My mother didn't do anything my dad wanted. She haggled, she complained, and then eventually ran my dad off. So her thought process, she said it earlier in the movie about compromise and growing and changing and adapting, which is true. Mm-hmm. But the route she chose to adapt was something neither one of them were really ready for.
Yeah. Because if you watch the movie, you know, it gives context all throughout the movie, but they had only been doing the open relationship thing for about 2 years. And she made the statement, I remember all 12 of their names. So for a woman, you know, and this is where I was, you know, he kind of got a little like, how, you know, but as a woman, we don't really do sex for conquest. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are some women who do sex for conquest because they just say something clicked in their head, you know, and it was like they turned the switch off, and it's like, hell, if you can do it, I can do it. Let's do this ball game, you know. But most women internally, we ain't built like that. Like, we don't do sex for conquest. Even when we're single and dating, we have sex with people, and if that person walked by in the mall, even though you're not dating that person, it was just a sexual thing, you know, something's gonna tingle on the inside. It just is what it is. That's the way we're built. You know what I'm saying? So this is your husband. 2 years, he said 3. I don't know. I think it was 2. 2 years of being open, and she's like, oh, I can remember the last 12. 12 different people plus 12 plus people, because she also does not know about the new chick that's pregnant right now, right? So 12 plus people in 2 years, like
3.
That's like one every other month. Like
3 years. That's 12 and 3 years. That's like 4 people a year. That's like one person every quarter.
So you're a busy architect. You're a busy architect. Like
travels.
You're successful and you're busy. Where the hell you find time? But so it's like, where are you meeting these people? Like, what are you doing that you had time? Because we're on 13 for sure, because the chick is pregnant, right?
Hey, I gave him the 13. So we 13. I did the math. 2 years, y'all. Somebody do the math in there. 12 and 3 years.
No, don't do no math. He had been tapped into every possible opening he had an opportunity to, and at that moment, even though it's an open marriage, as the wife, she's feeling like, well, dang, you know, were you just waiting on the opportunity, you know, because I said let's do it, and you like, thank you.
Hey, and part of this for me too was like, this me, y'all. I'm thinking like, there's not enough context in this story when she just throws the 12 out there.
Yeah.
So I be want context. Like, there are things that I feel like we need context to this. We're like 5 of them in the first year, and then he slowed down. Like, it's like analogy.
It doesn't matter.
I know it does matter in the maybe not the emotional part, but the emotion, logic. In the logical part of this, it matters. It matters sometimes. It matters logically. You know, there's not enough context. Men are hunters. If you tell a lion he can have any gazelle he wants, he's not going to go and kill one gazelle and just eat that gazelle. He's going to kill as many gazelles as he can for the sport of it. I'm not calling me a lion. I'm just a general analogy. It's like having a child who's not allowed to have candy, and you take them to the candy store, and you put them in the candy store and say, here you go, Billy. You can have all the candy you want. And then expect Billy to be like, no, Mom, I don't think I should eat all this candy. It's not going to happen until Billy gets sick from candy. And at this point, Cameron has gotten sick of candy.
Cameron only got sick of candy because he realized his wife was getting some candy of her own. That's when the table started turning, because then he realized, hold up, what you mean you was gonna have to do? Hold on. So wait, you went back and saw old boy again? Like, how many times have y'all done this? Okay, she broke the rules. Yes, she did.
Multiple times.
She broke the rules. She slept with the guy like 3 times, if I can remember, 3 or 4. And
Billy just a random name I could think of, Sabrina.
You like, okay, that wasn't right, but he saw her, and that's what broke her, because she didn't feel seen by her husband, who seemed to be taking every possible chance he could take to get at somebody or anything, like whenever he had a chance. And for whatever reason, that made her insecure.
She was already insecure.
And to backtrack, after the mother said, you changed who you were. You thought being better meant changing everything about you. So to go back to that, that's an insecurity in itself. Okay, let's pull that mask off. I don't know, everyone that's on tonight or whatever, or who may see this, but we got to get to a place within ourselves where you're not going to change you to make other people happy. You know what I'm saying? So, because that's an insecurity in itself. When you feel like you got to change who you are and things you like about yourself so that it can appeal to somebody else or other people. I don't care if it's a job. I don't care if it's friends. I don't care if it's a husband. Like,
or a wife.
You got to be happy. You know what I'm saying? So if that person or people are not happy with the you that you are, then keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So that was one problem. She had changed herself so much that she was insecure in herself, and
she didn't know who
she really didn't know how or what she needed to be satisfied, I would think.
And also in that same vein, I think she kind of, for him, because when she got to telling the things later on in the movie that she likes, like she likes to smoke, she likes to wear her hair curly, and certain things that she liked to do, her husband had no clue, because she changed herself so much before she met him to fit outside of what her upbringing was. That man didn't know these things. It's not like he may not have been okay with them. He didn't know she likes to smoke. He didn't know she like curly hair or none of that. Yeah. Because she put up this facade, this passing for perfect. She created the image that she thought was perfect for the man she was looking for, instead of being herself. And the thing, that's part of the thing why she was so connected to the guy who knew her from back then, because he was okay with those things. And he knew her for that.
Still wanted her.
And wanted her for those things.
So it was just a thing. And
they both had trust issues.
They did have trust issues, but the husband, now I'll say this, because this is something we did talk about the movie. The husband in the movie, he's telling his little brother, like, yeah, we've been in an open marriage, for a couple of years now. She ain't cheating on me, she's committed to this marriage. And if I believe nothing else, I know she's committed to this marriage, whatever. She's not cheating on me. We have an open marriage and it works just fine. So he's, all puffed up in the chest and boastful about the open marriage situation.
Then that pride gets shattered.
And then the pride gets shattered because he realized, okay, wait a minute, you done been back to the same person how many times? Like, you in tears. What's the rule? What the rules say? Tell me the rules. Say it.
Hey, and we have a comment in here about the rules. He said the rules were one-sided and played in his favor, but she wrote them.
They wrote them together.
So how was it one-sided? She had the same. They ran by the same rules.
I'm gonna tell you how. And this is just women. This is us pleasing y'all. So the whole point of the open marriage thing in the first place was, so what? I don't get cheated on. So my husband don't run off, right?
Right.
So when we sit down together and we put these together, whose thought process do you think we're following to create these rules?
Well, that's
his. Why? Because I want this to be constructed as so that you're happy, so that you don't do what? Run off.
But that's a flaw. That's a molding. This when you're making that kind of commitment, it should be,
first of all,
the rules should work for everybody.
Let's kill that.
I'm just saying.
First of all, women in this chat, Y'all holler if you hear me.
You kiss them like you kiss me. Right.
Again.
Hey, don't be kissing that. Don't be gay. I'm just saying that was, I'm thinking for Cameron.
So now we got to develop new kisses. And
Hey,
things?
I'm just thinking the man. I'm just speaking from a man's point of view on behalf of him. I'm not saying these are my rules or my thought processes. I'm just trying to be. I'm going to be Cameron, and you're being Ren at this point.
Mm-mm.
No, that's not what we do.
Not at all.
Okay.
So anyway, at this point, it is like women. Not one woman would have said we can only have sex with that one time. We can't go back to the same person again, because every woman on this thing knows when you find something at work and know how to get where they need to be.
I need to see a raise of hands.
You're gonna go back
there
to that because you want
her.
that satisfaction.
I'm just polling.
Women like certain chocolates. We like our candy. We don't go in the store and buy all the candy and try all the candy. When we have a taste for something, we know that exact thing that we want.
So you're running for the non-ladies every time.
We know what's going to satisfy us.
So you're running for the non-ladies.
We running for the
every
Mr.
time.
Good Boy.
The good boy.
Every time.
Why I had to be a Mr. Good Boy?
Because right now it's
why we can't be a Hershey's or something? Why it always got to be long in chocolate? They like can't.
Anyway, right now, Mr. Good Boy fits the situation. And at the end of the day, the women can tell you that we will run back to Mr. Good Boy because Mr. Good Boy got things right. He knew what he was doing. He came with the come on. He everything was plugged together. And you gonna tell me I can't go back?
Hey, you wrote the rule.
And I can about bet that you came up with the rule, Cam.
Hey, Ren, don't agree. That's the key to negotiation. You get what you negotiate. If that rule was uncomfortable, then we need to sit down and talk this rule out.
All right. So somebody's talking to you. Anyway, so what I'm saying is this. Even in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? Even in a relationship, I gotta stop looking at the screen, look at the camera. I'm sorry.
That's right, Desi.
What does it say?
Desi say it makes it harder to separate the emotional attachment, which is why they wrote the rule to never go back.
It does. But women, I'm saying,
emotion
would not prefer to bounce around when it comes to sex. So we know that logically speaking, just judging on, men and women, it was probably a him rule. This is what we're saying, okay? Not that it was. I'm just saying.
And I agree. I just wanted to play devil's advocate and give a different view, because men, we don't want the emotional attachment of that sex, especially when we know, especially if it's an open relationship, our emotion is attached to the wife. Mm-hmm. So we don't want the continuous sex to interfere with our emotional attachment. There are plenty of women could do it. Let me not say some. Yeah. There are plenty of women who can.
We've evolved.
Y'all changed.
We've evolved.
This is not grandmama no more. Right?
We've evolved. I mean,
so men avoid that emotional connection sexually as much as possible. Especially in this situation, it's like, okay, shoot, run. So I mean, that's just what it is. So
what?
Oh, I'm reading the comments, y'all. I'm sorry. We have that's truth. If it's good hair, we want some more. There you go with that Louisiana shit stuff. My bad. Oh, this YouTube. We can say a word or two. When a woman comes, there's an emotional attachment most times.
Sometimes
we tingle when we see it.
Yeah, we do.
That's why it's designed. That's why we are designed the way they are. We are, and I try, and that's why it's not what I say. It's a problem when women have multiple sexual partners. It's just the design. It's designed. The man is anatomy. His anatomy is designed to insert. So they are giving you themselves as women when when we have intercourse, when we do these things. So I get it, ladies. I'm not, I just want to, I just have to play devil's advocate because I have to include how men think in the conversation. We think logically illogical, especially when it comes to sex. We have logic with
that? Anyway.
we have logic to what we're doing, but it's just something about sex that make men illogical. It's women. That's why he went in there and got y'all. And,
okay, let's
Yeah.
not. We ain't gonna do a sermon not today.
I'm just
It's not tonight. Not right now. Anyway, so basically, it's uncovering
Billy, my boy.
what it is about yourself, like that baby said, worry about yourself. What it is about yourself that makes you feel like you have to do certain things or allow certain things to make someone else happy in order to keep that person in your life, I guess, or maybe just to make other people think that, I got it all together or whatever the case may be. Because in the early part of the movie, they have a little table, little book club meeting or whatever. And, everybody kept asking her questions because she, I guess, had been married the longest at the table or something like that. And they kept asking her questions like, how do you do this? Or what would you say about this? And all these things. They kept going to her and she kept giving, the perfect answer.
She gave really good advice.
She gave that good advice. And I guess she gave the advice in the back of her mind that she would want to follow or the way she would want her marriage to be. But at the end of the day, we don't live storybook lives and we don't live the perfect thought. You know what I'm saying? Because our emotions flip. We grow up and things change. Okay. Because, all right, 2 years passed, we had an open relationship. In 2 years, first of all, physically I've changed.
3.
Physically I've changed. The things I like because now I've had sex with someone other than you. I've learned I like some other stuff possibly, or I've learned that I don't like something that you do possibly. It's a lot of things that's going on, so you can't just leave this storybook thought process in your head. You got to come back. You got to be able to come back to the table and say, look, this don't work no more. This works. This works. That don't work. But you know what? We get afraid, ladies mostly. Men probably, but never mind. Men for sure. Y'all don't want to hear that you ain't doing something right. Like you don't want, especially when it comes to sex, you don't want to know that you're not doing something.
Can I raise my hand? I'm now. You ain't gonna be plugging me into the general, and she ain't gonna plug me into the general consensus on this. I'm just saying, I allow you to tell me whatever. Like and that's part of it. That's part of having open communication. So
telling you one thing and your response to that thing is two totally different things.
Oh, I thought we was just talking about telling. I ain't know we was. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
You gonna respond? What you mean? You gonna have a response?
But it don't be a bad response. It's a response. I understand where you're coming from because I don't mind you telling me.
We're talking about men in general.
How
is this coming to you? See,
I don't know. I'm being Cameron.
Don't be Cameron.
I'm being Cameron. I'm filling in.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So the trouble is that men a lot of times, women for sure, can't hear constructive criticisms about things that you ain't quite doing right. Women, we think we do a lot right. We think we do almost all of it right. We carry the family, we carry the kids, we carry sex, we satisfy everything. And we want to always believe that we're doing it all right. So most times when a man come to us and be like, look, I don't say this to you or I don't do this to you because this happened in the movie. I don't say this to you or I don't come at you this way because you get a little touchy about it. And we almost can't handle that. But men most definitely can't handle it because they feel like it's a personal attack. It's like you're attacking their manhood some type of way. by just simply saying, look, I've grown.
Yeah.
And this ain't what I like no more.
But it's also sometimes men and women don't say things properly. They don't say it in the right context,
or they don't say
or
it
at the same at the right time, or they don't say it.
Yeah.
And then they blame you for their lack of communication.
Right.
And we got down here where you said where I said allow, and Sabbath said allow her. What you mean? Like she's trying to say, like, I'm allowing you to speak to me. Like anybody allows someone to speak. It's not like you're not. It's not a requirement that you get to talk to me. I'm just saying, in general, not. I'm just saying, like, what is the allow thing? Why is it such a big deal for women when it sounds like a man is? What's the word I'm looking for?
Find it.
Controlling by saying allow, as if that's I'm treating you like a child by saying I allow you to share your feelings about things. So is that, I'm just saying, is that offensive?
It's offensive.
Why?
Simply because, flip it.
You allow me to share my feelings.
Really?
You don't have to listen to me or take it.
No.
In general.
I got witnesses to that. Thank you.
Whatever.
So what I'm saying is, I don't have to do it. So cool. But what I'm saying is, we got to start breaking down ourselves and stop thinking that we have all our ish together, because we don't, and then being vulnerable to the point where we can get to our whomever, friend, family member, spouse, significant other, whomever, and be like, this part of this right here, this the way it was set up a couple years ago, but this ain't working for me. This ain't right. I can't do this with you no more. Look here, friend, you call me with all this drama every day, all the time. I done listened to you with all that bull crap for the past however many years. I let you come at me. Look, I'm tired. I got a lot of issues in my own life going on. I need to be able to live. I got to work my own mind out. We got to be able to come back to our whomever we're in the relationship with and be able to be ourselves at all times. And what we need to accept as human beings is that we're always changing. We'll be married here 15 years next month. God, yeah, I've changed a lot in 15 years.
I know I have.
So for it would be,
foolish
and, just retarded to think that you can't allow me to come to you and say what needs to be said and changed or whatever. I need to be able to come and say, listen, this is not working. And maybe we need to change how we give that information and stop saying you're not doing this and you're not doing that.
One of the comments, Gregory Smith,
what you say?
It depends on how you communicate that to your spouse.
There you go.
And it matters. How you say things matters.
It does. And we have to stop saying, let's get to a place as people, period, because like I said, that passing for perfect thing, that ain't just an outside thing. You know what I'm saying? In this situation with her, she was passing for perfect in her own freaking house. Like, she was allowing her husband to think that she was okay with the status quo, and she was not, So that's where her problem came in at. And that's how he allowed this man to play on her vulnerabilities, because the other guy saw her need. He saw that. Men are hunters, so it's not a day in our lives that we as women need to think that another man outside of our situation can't key in on what we missing, because they can key in on what we missing just by some of the things we say or the way we respond to a compliment they give. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna walk out of this house and a man tell me, hey, you look nice today, and I light up like a Christmas tree. My husband tells me that all the time. That ain't nothing to me. But if I walk out the door and somebody say something to me or look at me a certain way that I'm not getting, internally we respond to that outwardly, even though we don't realize we may be responding to that. And there are some predators who pick up on it very quickly.
Men are hunters.
Men and women alike. Because they got some
they got some aggressive women out there too.
Women out here
that take your woman as well. I'm just saying, it happens. It's things have changed. It's not It's not your grandma of the streets anymore.
We have to be more up to come in and be like, you know what? Look, I want to talk to you because I just need to get this off my chest, and it's a me thing. Stop pointing the finger and saying you're not doing this right or you don't do this for me anymore. Just be, listen, this is what I need. I know this used to work for me, but that's not working for me anymore, and I'm just growing into this now. So the verbiage of what you're saying matters sometimes more than what you're saying, because we don't want to make people feel attacked, and we don't want to make people feel like they're not good enough, especially in a marriage. In the setting of a marriage, we don't want to make people feel like they're not good enough. So she should have come back to her husband and let him know, look, this open marriage thing, I thought it was going to work. Her words probably would have going to be, you've been out here tapping up on everything you get your hands on. But what she should have just simply said was, listen,
we need to reevaluate.
This is affecting me in a different way. I didn't expect it to affect me this way, but this is not working for me. And we need to just come back and talk about this again, because I don't think I'm in the same place anymore.
Let's do this. Even if she was, but she didn't like the way it was going. Like he was getting it in. She was just seeing that he was going out and he was being with as many people as he could. So maybe we need to adjust the rules. If that was the part of it that was a problem for her, or because to me, it didn't seem like he was really emotionally neglecting her. He was still doing stuff. He was still doing stuff for her. He was always calling her beautiful. He was still taking care of her. He was still doing that, buying gifts. He was still doing things. So maybe her thing was, okay, you're with too many women. So maybe we need to adjust these rules. We need to re-talk about this. And if this is not working, then we need to move. I feel like in all relationships, there should be maybe a 6 month or a year sit down where we would be like, okay, how are you feeling? What's going on? How is the relationship for you right now? Is there anything needs to be changed? Do any adjustments we need to make? And if some people may need to do it every 3 months.
And can we be open to hearing what
and be open to the conversations that have to be had? And that's right, BJ. A lot of couples have trouble with opening up and communication. And a lot of it has to do with upbringing. Her issues were really based in what she grew up in her house. Like, we were watching something yesterday where the lady wanted to be married. She knew her boyfriend loved her and wanted to be with her, but he didn't grow up in a house like she did. So the concept of marriage was different to him. He didn't grow up with both his parents. He didn't grow up in that type of environment. So the importance of marriage wasn't instilled in him the same way to where she was. So, like, those things matter. Just like she wanted to change herself, and her mother had to let her know, I didn't mean to change who you are. I said to be a better version of you. And that's when it clicked. And then even like sometimes as men, it takes someone from the outside to come in and make us appreciate what we had. Because that's what really happened at the end of the movie. He was on a trip with the lady, Big Booty Judy, who the wife thought he was trying to get with, which he wasn't. But she made him understand how good he had it with his wife.
Right.
He turned around and he went found her, and he went back. And if you saw the movie, they worked it out in the end. Like, it don't always end up fairy tale like that. But if you have more open communication and you talk about things,
and
then
be willing to
change and be open to listen. Be open to listen, not open to reply. That's a lot of our issue, is that we hear what people saying, but we're not understanding what they're saying because we're ready to defend what they're telling us. We're ready to respond and defend ourselves instead of actually be like, okay, I understand. Okay, now this is what and you need to give it back. This is what I got out of what you were saying.
Right.
To make sure that I understand, and then we can work around it. Communication solves a lot of things.
Instead of an open marriage, they should have just been dealing with open minds and left it at that, because the open marriage thing obviously wasn't what they needed. It was fun for him, obviously, but it really broke her. It broke her down, and but the thing broke her that she asked for. And that's where the funny comes in.
That's the heartbreak of it. That's the irony in it all. And you're right, Greg. Every couple of months, you should sit down with your spouse and reevaluate each other. I mean, we grow, we change all the time. Emotional things at work, things in life, things with family, kids, things change. Mm-hmm. Like, if anything, especially with COVID, this should have been an opportunity for people to engage in those type of conversations. But when you haven't been around somebody that's that long in years, it could turn the opposite way. Now I have to listen to you. Now I have to talk to you. And now I don't want to talk to you. And I realize I don't like you as much as I thought. And that's happening, because they've grown and they've evolved, and they haven't had these conversations. So now that you're forced to have this conversation, you're like, I really don't like you. Like, we've grown away from each other, and that's what we see happening. And it's kind of funny because we were supposed to do this podcast last week on the 8th, but me and my petty, I was like, let's do it on the 15th, National Side Piece Day.
Side Piece Day.
This is a good conversation to have on National Side Piece Day about open relationships, people not. And the crazy part about them getting into the open relationship, from what we got from the movie, they really weren't having issues.
It was preventative measure.
It was a preventative measure. Yeah, he had a situation where he went out to dinner with a coworker, and the person, remember, she ended up not being in the office anymore. Remember, that was back when she brung the open relationship thing to. So he done something. He done something. So she just, based off her history with her parents.
And that takes us to that last point.
She just was trying to do preventative care.
Because she brought that up. She did bring that up, now that you're saying it, about when he said, I don't mix business and pleasure. And she gave him this look, and he's like, look, we ain't gonna talk about that. She ain't even here no more, whatever. But how are you in an open relationship and you want an open marriage, and y'all have these rules to go off and gallivant and do what you want to do, but you still thinking back on all this other stuff, just like saying, I remember the names of the people, or, and then bringing up you don't mix business and pleasure, huh? And bringing up, obviously, that something had happened in the past. Like, don't punish people for the same. You stayed, whatever the situation is, you accepted that. You made some new rules for that, and you move forward. So why are we hearing about this still, in the new part of the relationship? That was in the old part of the relationship.
You can't be double jeoparding me after I done already went to court and been acquitted or convicted. You can't keep trying to send me back to jail for the same crime over and over, which is what people do. It's human nature. Like, we may forgive, but we never forget. I think it's maybe a big thing about forgetting along with that forgiving, because it doesn't do you any good to forgive. You shouldn't forget. You should always have a reminder, because sometimes those things that happen because of something both of us did. It wasn't just one-sided. But when you say forgive means forgive. Like, I forgive you. We're past this. I'm over this. We're moving on. We're not going to keep. Every time I feel some type of way or something happens, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, here we go again, and use that as a crutch.
Yeah, ammunition to hurt the other person.
Don't keep that noose around my neck, and every time you feel some type of way, you want to pull at my neck, try to choke me. So
I think women are much better at that than men. having something happen and then women can get over it and men, and not really bring it up, like talking about or whatever. And then if it was to happen on the other side,
we can't handle it.
No.
No, we can't. We're terrible at it.
So proud of you.
I mean, we're stupid.
I'm proud. I'm very proud of that. I'm so happy he,
Greg, the name of the movie is Open. It's on
BET Plus.
BET Plus, or
you can find it on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime as well. But it's a BET Plus movie.
So you're gonna have to rent it if you don't have BET Plus.
That's Greg. He got it.
But anyway, the whole movie just it threw so many different things up. You know what I'm saying? And outside of having to create something to make sure your marriage continues to work, recreating yourself for the person and not being able to come back and say what's different about you now or what you like about yourself that you haven't shown and you were scared to show it or something like that, maybe that person wouldn't accept it or maybe they wouldn't like it and you don't want to feel the rejection of, I like it, but they may not like it. It doesn't fit in the world that I found them in. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like it was a lot of insecurities going on for her to sit up and suggest an open marriage. So,
and the man doesn't know how insecure he is.
Yeah,
until he's faced with something
with the insecurity
that brings out that insecurity.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, can we stop wearing the mask? Can we own our ish? Can we just go on and just honestly say, I can't handle that?
Own that.
I can't handle it. That ain't for me. Even men, they hear open marriage and that just means to them, I get to, stick it to whatever I want to stick it to whenever, and you can't get mad at me for it, until the shoe turns and then it's like, hold up.
You can't pressure me for that. You can't.
Who this man?
You can't charge me for that.
Until you see another man. Then it's like, wait.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why they made the rules they had. Nothing in public, don't go back.
But that was even in the bar when the man was talking to him and he was
but remember that was their first
small wife.
that was their first time doing it. Because remember, it was like, if we don't like it, we can leave, because they neighbor invited him. It was his first.
Still that place.
Yeah, but it was his first time seeing it in his face. Like I said,
men. Hey. Because only men, y'all don't try to justify that foolishness. You went to a swingers club and another man was looking at your wife and salivating over your wife and you feeling some type of way. What did you think was going to happen? You're in a swingers club. Your woman is in negligee.
Hey, I'm just saying, the man, he didn't know how he was going to respond to that till he had to respond to it. Fight or flight. Either he could have just went away and found him another woman, and so he didn't see that, or he could bow his chest out. He chose to fight instead of flight. I mean,
any comments from those who actually, if y'all saw the movie, or just from listening to what we've said so far? Are there any comments?
Exactly, Greg. Accountability. You're right, Deshaun. Accountability. And Sabrina, what that kiss wasn't in public. That kiss really hurt his feelings. Yeah. But they did. The original kiss was in public, because that's when the sister-in-law saw it. Kissing on her neck, yeah. And then they were out on the car.
No, the kiss he fell apart about was what he walked on.
Oh, when he walked up in on, yeah, but that was after the lies.
You kiss him like me?
That was after the lies and stuff. At that point, he going to find out what the hell going on. You just randomly going, I'm gonna be back. I'll be back around midnight. I'm going to finish this cake.
Well, they had a little spat, so she was trying to get a little space. Yeah. She didn't expect the man to show up there.
Mm-hmm. She didn't.
Not the husband, but the
other man, the stalker tendencies. He's already showed you. This fool had already showed you that this was a bad idea. to be dealing with him. He'd shown her.
Sometimes stalker tendencies seem like love in the beginning.
He'd shown her
for a genuine interest
that he was taking it too far because she'd already explained to him the rules, the guidelines, and all that. This is when the male hunter come in, because at that point he feels like, okay, I see a chink in the armor. Let me see if I can wedge my way in and take her away. And she was so
she allowed it.
She was so enamored with what was going on that she allowed him to,
she allowed it.
Wiggle his way in.
She allowed it because she felt some sort of satisfaction being wanted that way.
Conversations wasn't being had.
Conversations were not had. And I feel like men, the husband in this particular situation, got away with a lot of things simply because the rules were in play and because the open marriage was in play. So even if, fellas, women, y'all can hear me, but fellas, even if you're in an open marriage, even if there's a scope of rules for your marriage, even if, you should still be attentive to your spouse. Even if he had lost sight of his wife, he had lost sight of her. He was just going along all happy go lucky, everything's all dandy, but he had lost sight of her because
he still said he was still doing his stuff.
He was not. He was doing things that he wanted to do for her, but he was not doing things that satisfied her emotionally because obviously she wasn't fulfilled. He stopped paying attention to her.
Sabrina, how he didn't respect her rules? Like, what rule didn't he respect?
Let her tell you. I mean, this is.
Yeah, that's a question.
Until she types that in, he lost sight of his spouse. He was not attentive enough. He wasn't paying enough attention to his spouse because if your wife or spouse or whomever is lost in this way, how is it that you let that skip by you? You know what I'm saying? When things change, things that used to make her light up, she don't quite light up like that no more. Like, that's a sign something's going on.
Agreed.
There's the
she
light
was talking about
dimming.
The stalker didn't
Well, no, the stalker didn't respect her
at all.
He was like, "Oh, you the husband? Okay, what's up? Ain't she beautiful? Look at all this here. I got this."
Yeah, that was petty at that point. He deserved that punch at that point because you were playing the game. Like, you was being mad disrespectful at this point. It was mad disrespectful. So I felt Cameron when he punched the piss out of her. I felt it. I understood why he punched me. Because now this is my wife. Now
you're in an open marriage.
Yeah. But you also know you violated these rules of this open marriage as well.
This is my friend.
Cool.
She was his friend.
But that's exactly. And then you got my wife plastered all over your
I'm a photographer. This is my job.
See, this is what I'm talking about, fellas. See how women work this out and make it fit every time. That's why we don't win.
Well, this is what y'all do.
No, we don't do that because we do.
Because
we lose every time.
Said, I never broke the rules. I never broke the rules.
Which is true. He didn't break the rules.
Then what?
But she broke the rules.
Sexually, she broke the rules.
She lied too.
About what?
She didn't tell him about her.
It's like he didn't tell her about that pregnant lady.
Hey, we breaking rules. He didn't go back. But by the time he went back multiple times with the lady, the man, everything, the rules were broken. Yeah. So they both broke rules. It's like no sin is greater than the other. Once one of us break the rule, we both wrong.
But who was standing there in tears about it though?
He was.
Oh, okay.
She was crying too. Don't be trying. She was scared.
We're just trying to establish something.
She was scared.
Yeah, she was scared.
She knew she had up.
Did?
Okay. Then I just wanted the acknowledgement that she screwed up too. You know what I'm saying? That's all I wanted from the movie.
She broke the rules.
Okay.
So
that's enough for the night. I think we've established everything we needed to establish for the night. A woman admitted to being wrong. She admitted it. I'm talking about the movie, not you.
Oh,
Why you give me them faces? Y'all see these faces? This is what I'm talking about. They both broke rules. I just wanted her to admit that the lady in the movie was wrong too. Because when we originally watched this movie and had this conversation, Cameron wasn't ish. It was all Cameron's fault.
I never said that. I just pointed out the fact that he was doing a lot of bunny hopping.
Yeah, he was. And I told you that, I mean,
he was doing some bunny hopping. And she couldn't take it. And they needed to revisit that. So, yeah, you know I can't see.
I know Sabrina said we're gonna need some bigger cheers when she a guest on the show. You can bring your own chill, boo.
So, in totality of it all, it was a great discussion. I'm glad you all joined us for our first little pilot episode talking about, you know, the open marriage on National Side Piece Day. If you a side piece, I hope you got your candy and your bear.
And you're not offended by this. You know, you chose the side piece life.
You knew that woman.
We're not judging. That's like I said. Two of our things. We don't judge. No judgment zone here.
I'm celebrating you.
And I'm just saying.
He said National Side Piece Day. So I mean, talking about open on National Side Piece Day, and you know, talk to your boo thing that you know the side piece of about an open marriage with his or her, you know, significant other. It might, you know, hey, it might surprise you. They might bring you on in, you know, because we don't discuss these things like we should. We need to open up and talk a little bit more. So maybe if he or she just go to the other person and say, this is not working for me like it used to, you know, I need a little extra. And, you know, let's bring it together. Maybe they'll open it up and you cannot be a side piece no more and just be a piece. You know what I'm saying? You can be a boo thing and just leave it at that.
Don't do that in Baton Rouge. Don't do it in Baton Rouge.
I'm just making suggestions.
Yeah.
You know?
The domestic violence in Baton Rouge is ridiculous. Don't y'all do that.
Thank y'all for joining us. If you have not watched the movie Open, please go watch the movie.
You'll understand
what we're talking about. But at the end of the day, if you are in a committed relationship, don't wear a mask in your relationship.
Quit trying to pass for perfect and be yourself.
If it ain't perfect, let the other person know this is not working for me. We need to talk about some things. If that person comes to you, be open to hearing what they're talking about. Don't take it as an attack. It's their truth. They're just telling you how they are feeling and trying to get a solution to their issue, you know? So don't take it as you being attacked. So,
and we won't go this long next time, you guys. We went over. I said
this was our first one.
Yeah, so we're working it out. But this will be on audio. You'll be able to catch it Spotify, Google Music, Apple Music. It'll be edited a little bit at that point, but you'll be able to catch it on all your streaming services, all of them.
Thank y'all for joining and commenting and participating and all that. And
please like, subscribe, share, all that.
Yeah.
And this has been Passing for Perfect with Corey and Carnisha. We love you.
Brought to you by Cosmo Life LLC. Go and visit our website, cosmolifebr.com. Y'all have a wonderful night.